As the rest of the world celebrates Eid-al-Fitr, a festive atmosphere prevails in most parts of the Middle East. But not all of it is merrymaking and celebrations. There's politics too. Some countries use this time to make significant moves, some diplomatic, some controversial. We bring you the story of how the Middle East keeps its calm during Eid. In Saudi Arabia, thousands of Muslims gathered at the Grand Mosque in Mecca to pray Eid. The two biggest rivals of Saudi Arabia, Iran and Yemen's Houthi rebels, called for a 3-day Eid ceasefire. Now, this is what they said. The Iranian-backed Houthi rebels said the truce would allow aid into besieged areas and help evacuate wounded civilians. Now, the Houthis did not specify when the truce would start, but they said it would last until sunset on August. And that's Monday, August. Now, this came after Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi also announced a 3-day humanitarian ceasefire starting from Sunday. Now, these announcements came on the last day of Ramadan. But why did the Houthis call for a ceasefire? They've been consistently targeting Saudi Arabia with drones and missiles in what they call Operation Deterrent Missile. Now Saudi Arabia has retaliated with airstrikes on Yemen, which have killed hundreds of Yemeni civilians. This has led to a humanitarian crisis in Yemen. So with the world celebrating Eid, the Houthi rebels thought it's the perfect time to announce a ceasefire. They know the Saudi Arabia will not accept an offensive during Eid. It's a masterstroke. But will Riyadh accept it? There is no official response yet. But there are reports that a Saudi-led coalition is considering a 5-day humanitarian pause in Yemen. If accepted, this would be the first break in the fighting since the Saudi-led intervention in Yemen in 2015. Meanwhile, Israel has rejected calls for a Gaza ceasefire. Israeli officials say they will not stop the offensive in Gaza until Sheikh Ismail Haniyeh, who heads Hamas's political wing, is eliminated. He's currently in hospital in Gaza. Now Hamas says it wants a 5-day humanitarian ceasefire to allow aid into Gaza and get medical care out. But Israel has rejected this demand. Instead, it has launched a new offensive in Gaza, calling it the largest in the history of the State of Israel. As of Saturday, around 7,700 Palestinians have been killed. The death toll includes 284 women and 238 children. Over 6,000 have been injured. These figures were released by the Gaza Health Ministry. Israel has also stepped up attacks in the West Bank. On Saturday, Israeli forces killed 8 Palestinians in the West Bank. Most of them were from Jenin, which is known as the birthplace of the current Palestinian uprising. So far in this uprising, which began in late September, more than 230 Palestinians have been killed by Israeli forces in the West Bank. This was before the weekend's Jenin operation. Also, more than 140 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza. Now, leaders across the Arab world have called for a ceasefire. Even Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who is a close ally of Israel, has called for a humanitarian truce. He made the remarks during his Friday sermon. But Israel has ignored such calls. Benjamin Netanyahu says he will not accept a ceasefire. He says Hamas must be completely eliminated. That's what he said on Thursday. On Friday, there were protests in several Muslim countries. Thousands of people marched in the streets of Beirut, Amman, Istanbul, and New Delhi, among other cities. In India, protesters blocked roads, shouted slogans and carried placards that read, "Stop genocide, end Israeli occupation." Let me now tell you about another country where the Eid coincided with a very important election, Iraq. More than 30 million Iraqis were eligible to vote. They cast their ballots amid tight security. 2022 is supposed to be the year of hope for Iraqis. After years of war and terrorism, this election was supposed to bring stability, but that hope was short-lived. Hours after voting began, a car bomb killed at least 30 people outside a polling station in the Shia Muslim neighborhood of Kadhimiya in Baghdad. No one claimed responsibility for the attack, but the government blamed ISIS. So while the rest of the world celebrated Eid, the people of Iraq braved hot sun and long queues to vote in one of the most consequential elections in their lifetime. The fate of their country quite literally hung in the balance. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos like this.